Welcome back to Interpack TV, live here from Düsseldorf. In this segment, we turn our focus to one of the defining challenges and opportunities for the packaging and processing industry, the circular economy. From recyclable materials and reusable systems to smart design and innovative recovery solutions, companies across the globe are rethinking how products and packaging can stay in the loop for longer. And let's explore these ideas, these technologies and collaborations, but with a focus, with the key topic of PreZero sustainable packaging. And I'm very delighted to welcome Alexander Reitz from PreZero.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Alexander Reitz, that you're joining us today. Well, as I said, the Schwarz Group, right, has built an in-house circular economy system with PreZero Enter. But what was the thinking behind all that? What was the background of PreZero in the original sense?
Well, for a long time, we had an in-house service called Green Cycle, where we collected stretch films, all the cardboard that we collected in store, and then we thought, how can we market this and use this to our advantage? And that was a basic idea that we thought if we can focus on stuff that is adjacent to the core business of retail, there's a lot of potential there. And we saw that it worked, and then basically blew it out by doing some acquisition, first of Turnsmeyer, then of large swaths of Suez in Europe, and then of Chesba. So the whole story grew from there, I guess.
Okay. I think it's a great idea because you're bringing waste management and recycling capabilities into the group, right? Instead of relying entirely on external partners.
Exactly. So sovereignty of the supply chain is a big factor, and what not strategic reasons behind it, but it's also about commitment, and it's about making sure that we are responsible for what we put on the market. So among our new targets of our reset resource strategy, the companies of the Schwarz Group endeavor to take back as many materials as they put on the market with their own brands back. So we have deposit systems or via PreZero in all the countries that we're active in.
Yes. And how does PreZero coordinate material flows across the different Schwarz Group businesses?
So obviously we have a lot of access to materials from our EPR system, since we're very proud to say that since this year we are the largest EPR system for packaging in Germany, and we started with 11% that just came from Lidl and Kaufland in terms of market share. Now we're at 25%, and so many other brands trust us. So we can steer these material flows. We can make sure that they go to good sorting centers, our sorting centers, and then go to high quality recycling facilities all across Europe.
From your point of view, what are the biggest operational advantages of controlling the circular value chains internally, especially compared with more traditional, let's say, retailer, supplier recycling models?
Well, especially if it comes to, let's use the example of recyclates.
Yes.
I mean, we'll all know from various reports that we are probably going to do severe market squeeze when it comes to high quality recyclates of plastics in 2030. By having own recycling capabilities, access to material, we are in a good position to make sure that we'll be able to fulfill our targets and not be squeezed out of the market, so to say. So that's a big strategic advantage. And obviously, if you can control material flows, you also have the ability to optimize the logistics, operate the economic drivers behind that.
Okay. And can you explain how recycled plastics are generated through PreZero and are reintegrated into the Schwarz Group's own product and packaging, right?
Sure. So maybe that's for companies of the Schwarz Group, the big lighthouse project that probably everyone knows is the RPT bottle done by Schwarz Production.
Well known.
Günther Jauch did a great job, and we did a great job actually, because we're very proud of that, to do 100% RPT in those bottles. But we're also very successful in HDPE, for example, where we can do high quality cosmetics, leave-on, rinse-off cosmetics, and we do that basically by focusing hardcore on technology. I mean, there's a lot of technological steps that go into it. I mean, there's an area that used to be called a few years ago waste management, right? But right now it's a high-tech business. So you do color sorting, you do hot washing, you do refreshing of flakes to get rid of all the odors. And we do all these steps, get high-quality recyclates, and then we can use them in our own products for like shower gels and detergents and stuff like that.
Okay. And could you name some product categories which are currently leading this transition?
Absolutely. Yes, this the VPR, as we call it, so detergents and cleaning agents and shower gels, sun milk, stuff like that.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
As you know better than me, many retailers, I think they struggle with securing high quality recyclates at scale. But how does Schwarz Group ensure consistent material quality and availability for these loose transitions?
I mean, it's obviously a process, and we'll also have a way to go until 2030. But I think it's also a lot of about mindset and about technology. These are the two key areas.
Yes.
What do I mean by that? I mentioned before that we are now the largest dual system in Germany. But what do we do with this market position? So in Germany, you got to recycle 50% of the yellow bin, right? Sounds low, but it's just a collected amount. So you calculate it from the yellow bin with everything that's in there that's not supposed to in there, like bowling balls, dead cats, toasters, a lot of stuff.
I like how you explain that.
Yeah. So 50% of that. So what is the market average?
Yeah.
I think it's like 51%. So barely above the minimum of what is required.
Yeah.
PreZero does 55%. So we do more what is required. So we also get more material out of this whole process and hope to drive this change and generate more high quality material that we can use then, hopefully in the future, also in our own brand packaging.
What would you say, what role do packaging design and retail product development play in enabling recyclability within the Schwarz Group?
Obviously, we have a big consulting business. We consult in-house, but also other companies, how to do proper design for recycling. But to be honest, that it's not rocket science, right? So you can get your guidelines, you get the German minimum standard, you can get the CEN guidelines, you can go to Recyclers.
Well, it depends on who you ask.
Who you ask, yeah, but this gets you like 80% of the way, right? That's following the guidelines is half the battle. I'll use this example. It's like cooking, right?
Yeah.
If you want to make a good pie or whatever, you got to follow the recipe, and then the 20% extra is the seasoning. And
you should be able to read. You should be able to read it, but then.
Yeah, you implement it and you make sure that all your partners in the value chain are also enabled to do this, because we rely on the partnership with our suppliers, so they need to do it in practice, right? So it's a lot of also enabling the supply chain.
Okay. And what have been the biggest technical or organizational challenges in building a truly circular plastics loop inside a retail group of this scale and of this size? What were the biggest challenges?
I mean, these challenges are still ongoing. I mean, it's a big mind shift, right? That the value or the hierarchy of packaging is severely changing. I mean, we always cared about packaging. There was all the packaging purchasing, there was packaging sustainability departments within Lidl and Kaufland and other retailers, I assume, as well. But in the past, it used to be something that came with a product, right? At the end of the day, it was about the product, the quality, and the price.
And about marketing.
And about marketing, true. And this is shifting radically. And we made great strides, otherwise we would not have achieved these things that we did so far. But it's still an ongoing process to readjust this hierarchy that packaging and packaging sustainability metrics and compliance are now on a whole nother level and have to be introduced earlier in the thinking process and in the purchasing decision. And this is still an ongoing mind shift, and the whole company is still going on as it is on the market.
Nevertheless, you need manpower or woman power for the all packaging design and the packaging measures.
Sure. For that, in the Schwarz Group, we have PreZero helping them. I think we have a team of 20 people now to help out with all these design guidelines and recyclability and recycled content implementation project. You're completely right. This also takes man and brain and woman power.
And brain power, great, yes. That was. But how does PreZero collaborate with manufacturers and consumers to improve collection rates and material recovery beyond Schwarz Group's own operations?
Well, engaging consumers is really hard, to be quite honest. We're also part of Mülltrennung wirkt and do engagement of consumers. But yeah, it's hard.
But what could be the key topic here? What could be the tipping point in a consumer perspective?
I think we've got to start with education. I mean, really go to school and do stuff there. I mean, we did pilots at the point of sale, at the shelf, right? But if a consumer goes into the supermarket and wants to buy a shower gel or is thirsty, he wants to buy water, and that's what he's going to the store for, to get his drinks and not be lectured about waste management. So I don't think this is really the best place to do it in the stores, and I think we got to start a lot earlier.
Okay.
We're also heavily involved with Forum Recyclat, who also do great stuff in terms of engagement and in terms of education.
Yes.
So that is what we focus on, bringing the industry together and finding common ground in terms of the messaging. And I think that's really something that we can all agree on, better collection, better separation at source would be beneficial for everyone.
Greetings to Dagmar Glatz.
Absolutely, thank you. I'll send it.
Looking ahead, Alexander Reitz, where do you see the greatest untapped potential for circular economy models within retail? Or aren't there any potential?
That is a good... So one of the big topics right now is certainly data, and that's something that we focus on to also not changing the physical shelf and the packaging on the shelf, but also the data structure behind that. So there's a lot of untapped potential in the whole field of data, because we will need to do it. We're pressured to do it basically by the technical documentation and the declaration of conformity by PPWR. But if you have this data and have a wholesale granular perspective on the materials that you use, then you can look at standardization, you can do portfolio analysis, you can also then look to sustainability drivers and to cost drivers. So really this granular data analysis across portfolios is probably the most untapped potential that we'll be able to address in the future.
You're a well-connected guy in the packaging industry. What lessons, maybe from Schwarz Group's approach, could others require help to apply internationally?
I think it's a mindset. It's not that other companies are not doing it this way. I don't want to be presumptuous or anything about that. But what Schwarz Group is doing is it's often not rocket science, right? In terms of packaging, circularity, but also in other things, right? I think they raised a lot of eyebrows when we founded Tailwind at Schwarz Group, basically buying our own ships, right? Anyone can do that, right? There are a lot of companies out there that have money, that have resources. They could do that, right?
Yeah.
So it's about just doing it. And
just do it.
Just do it. Yeah, I think that claim is taken. But just do it. It's not the claim of the companies of the Schwarz Group, but it would fit.
It would fit.
It would fit.
It would fit. And I think with you, they have a great ambassador for circular economy.
Well, thank you.
Alexander Reitz, thank you very much for joining us with these great insights, and I wish you a successful Interpack.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for watching. And thank you very much for joining us here from Interpack 2026. We'll be right back at 12 o'clock. Stay tuned.